Okay, today's case study is on how I helped a client go from dreading and avoiding social events due to severe grief to looking forward to making new memories and attending those events by learning this one strategy. If that sounds like you, then stick around and join today's training, and you will learn how to take this strategy, implement it in your life, and get back to living. For those of you who may not know me, I'm Dr. Annette Athey. I am a grief specialist and child development expert. I've been in the field for nearly 20 years, and I'm happy that you are here today. For those of you who do stick around, if you comment #dragonfly, you will unlock a spot on my calendar this week to join me in a free 15-minute grief to healing phone call. And I look forward to giving you the number one strategy that you can implement in your household. For those of you that are here and watching, if you would comment #replay, that will move the video up in our Facebook news feed so that those who may have missed it will get a chance to watch it as well. Many of us have kids who are avoiding social events or dreading going to that next big event or next chapter in their life because of dealing with grief and missing the loved one who would have been there front and center, cheering them on, part of this big day. And although those of us who are here and are participating and very much are kids' cheerleaders, sometimes that's just not enough. Our kids still want that connection from the loved one who has died. And in today's training, what I would like to provide for you is how do we continue to facilitate that relationship even though this special person has passed away. Many of us, with the end of the school year event, I know for myself, my oldest is graduating from high school, and this is a big deal. It's a big event in our household, and the conversation has come up many times about the loss of my dad and how Papa would have been so excited, or how Papa would have made sure that this thing was happening or being done, or would have been encouraging certain things in preparation for college in the fall. And although those conversations can be difficult, I am so thankful that we're able to talk about him and have those conversations and talk about what he would have wanted or how he would have participated. Because in those conversations, it also allows for us to recreate what he would have done or what he would have said. And so in those moments, we have a chance to bring that connection forward. So for instance, with my daughter, we see my dad around in a lot of ways, and one of the ways is he tends to show up as a dragonfly. And for those of you who might be new to the group or maybe have been in the group since we started in March, may have noticed that there seems to be a dragonfly on almost every slide or every image that has been in our Facebook group. And the reason for that is we believe in signs and signals from our loved ones, and my dad tends to show up to us as a dragonfly. And with that, we get a lot of joy And again, that great connection conversation about how Papa is still here, how here he is, he's saying hello. And so, if you were ever around my children, you may hear them randomly say, "Hi, Papa." So, whether we see a dragonfly or a penny on the street, my kids know that these are just signs and signals that Papa is saying he's still around. And so we make sure to verbally acknowledge that. We say it out loud, and we just welcome those signals or signs. For those of you who may not be believers, that is okay. This is something that works in our household. It doesn't mean it has to work for yours. And again, it becomes this very non-threatening way to have a conversation, for my dad's memory to be back in our present conversations and not just talking about when he died or how much we miss him, but a way to continue him in our current life. So I also wanted to share just a couple other examples with another client that I have worked with. We found a way to include their loved one. And I know we have had some posts in the Facebook group about ways that people have found to honor their loved ones. For some people, it's buying something that's a tangible representation of their loved one. For other people, it's maybe taking their shirt of the loved one or a special blanket or something that the loved one had passed on to a family member. This is really important because kids need that concrete, tangible, hands-on item, something that they can have in their hands to remember their loved one. And it brings a lot of comfort. As I talked about with my daughter, for her prom corsage, we put a little metal dragonfly in her corsage because she wanted the memory and the thought that Papa was with her. And that was one way for us to represent him, even though he wasn't physically with us. His memory and his spirit was. Another way that some people like to either repurpose something of their loved ones or maybe even wearing something. So maybe it's earrings, maybe it's a piece of clothing, maybe it's taking that item and turning it into something else. I'm sure that on the Facebook page you have seen pictures of my youngest daughter, and her blue bear that's in those pictures with her is made from her dad's cashmere sweater. Now, I do have to say, I'm not sure he would have approved that we cut it up and turned it into a bear. However, for the last almost 7 years, that bear has been everywhere with her. And she talks to her bear at night and talks to him as if dad is still there, and she can share with him about her day. And that tangible representation is so important because, like I mentioned, kids need to be able to put their hands on it. They need to be able to touch it and feel it and have that sensory moment. Because so much of grief and loss is such an abstract concept. It's such a thought that we can't really wrap our head around, the idea that we're never going to see this person. And so by having this tangible thing, this item that represents them, or maybe it's getting their favorite flowers or a smell that reminds us of them and having it around or in our house, those are ways that bring their memory forward and keep us connected to them. Again, for some people, maybe it's having a tattoo in memory of this person. Obviously, our children probably shouldn't be getting tattoos, but when they get older, or even as parents, we like that tangible representation, something we can touch that reminds us of these loved ones. And so again, no matter how simple or complex, or maybe it's one thing, or maybe it's a variety of things, this item can bring us such peace, such grounding and connection for ourselves and for our children. If the information in this resonates with you, and maybe you need some help brainstorming how to bring this idea in your household, I would love for you to comment #dragonfly if you are ready to take that next step and meet with me on a 15-minute grief to healing clarification call, where I can not only help you come up with your tangible item in your household that might help carry that connection and memory forward, but also we can address that number one grief issue in your household and give you something to work on right away in how to address that. So I look forward to seeing you in the group, and take care and have a great week.